Do you wish you read more? I hear that from a lot of people. Well, guess what? You are in luck. The Inside Flap is a podcast coming out of Denver. This trio of hosts work so well together as they review 3 books and 1 audiobook each week. They even reviewed a book of Connie Willis, a previous guest on the NoCo. Check them out. That's podcast The Inside Flap. They're also on Instagram and Facebook if you want to connect with them. Welcome to the NoCo, bringing curiosity and community connection to the northern Colorado area, one conversation at a time. Think you have what it takes to be a pinball wizard? Feeling good about bringing home the gold in an air hockey or buck hunter tournament? You could do all this and more at an awesome place located in downtown Loveland by the name of the Flipside. We are joined by their general purveyor of fun, Nadia Nimberger, who shares some neat insights about this wonderful gaming watering hole in downtown Loveland. And now, here is Nadia.
This is Nadia for the Flipside.
And what is your official title?
General Manager and Purveyor of Fun. It changed a lot.
What?
My title. Because I first started here in February of last year as a one night a week bartender on Saturday nights. So I was working 4 jobs. Mm-hmm. And then the management position opened up, and I had been here for almost half a year at that point. So I accepted it, quit all my other jobs, and it went from bar to lead mixologist and then general manager.
Do you keep with the nerdy theme and give everyone strange titles?
Oh my gosh, it's really funny that you ask. I'll show you when we're done, but on the side of the refrigerator we have all different name tags that say door goblin and snack wench and dish elf and lead popcornologist and senior crumb wrangler.
And do you wear those or?
The door people and whoever's coming in can choose to put whatever name tag they really want to be that day.
Oh, okay. Very nice.
Their duties don't change, but their names do.
Well, I sit here in person under this wonderfully luminescent tree in the Flipside with Nadia Nimberger, the general manager and claimed purveyor of fun here at the Flipside. Mm-hmm. So for listeners who may not know, what is the Flipside? Where are we sitting today?
Well, the Flipside's basically at the geographical heart of downtown Loveland, right on the corner of 4th and Cleveland. You know, as downtown is developing a lot, we're gaining a lot of momentum, but really what we want to offer to this area is just something that they really didn't have before. They didn't have a place to go and just relax and have a really good time, and we wanted to open that up to people of downtown Loveland. So we have about 20 different pinball machines, skee ball, air hockey, buck hunter, bubble hockey, 4-player Pac-Man, and a full bar with happy hour till 7 every day. So it's inviting for people to come in with their kids, and they don't have to feel pressured that they're in a really big bar atmosphere. It's really kind of 50-50 as much as we can be.
That's neat. The design is the bar is kind of over here in this one corner, and the games are over here, so people don't feel necessarily pressured to drink. They wouldn't feel uncomfortable bringing kids in here.
Exactly. We like to say that we're open to children of all ages. And like I said, the bar area is completely separate from where all the games are, so that, like you said, people don't feel pressured to drink or don't feel like they can't have a beer or two.
Right. Do you all feel like you've been pulling against this notion that this type of stuff didn't exist in downtown Loveland? Do you feel like you've been trying to change that picture by just existing here?
Yeah, that's really exactly what we were looking for. There are places that you can take your kids, but they're mostly restaurants that happen to have entertainment within them, such as a claw machine or a pool table or darts. But this is much more inclusive, and we try to keep everybody on their toes. We're constantly changing out our machines and upgrading them and adding new and exciting options for everybody.
I feel like pinball is like a lost art.
Well, yes and no. There is a really big for lack of a better term, pinhead scene in northern Colorado specifically. There's a lot of people who seek out the machines that we have just to come and play them. We've had people come from London to play our machines, from Chicago, Colorado Springs, Durango, just to play our machines because, there is such an underground pinball society almost. We have leagues every Tuesday that are part of the International Pinball Association. And it's a very serious league, and people get super, super into it. And truthfully, I didn't know anything about pinball until I started working here. And it's actually on the job description that you can improve your pinball skills if you work here.
You're allowed to play.
Yeah.
And just try to rack up some better scores.
Exactly. There are times in the day, like any other business, there's lulls and sometimes there's dragging nights, and we just kind of get together and play a couple tournaments. It's really nice.
That's cool. So in these Tuesday night leagues, people are playing against other teams in high scores. They're setting on the pinball machines, right?
They're playing against each other. So the rules are very strict now. They didn't used to be for us because we just joined them very recently. And you go head to head with the person that has the skills closest to yours.
That's nice. Mm-hmm. So it evens out the competition.
Exactly.
And do they have to play on the same machine?
Yes.
Okay.
So this last week we picked out a few different games. I wasn't here, so feel free to double check my facts because I wasn't here that night. I know Adam's Family was one of them. And it's actually one of the hardest games that I think that we have because it doesn't have a ball save. So if the ball drains down the middle, it goes directly to the next ball. Most machines will give you a ball save. Like, oops, try again. But that one won't.
Ooh. Cold-hearted, just like the Addams Family. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I was sitting here thinking, all right, if you do the Walking Dead pinball machine, it may be easier than the Star Wars pinball machine. So if two people are competing head-to-head for score, they're going to have to be on the same device. Yeah,
so they have to be on the same device. There are some people who come in on a regular basis just to practice on a game that they may have not been as good at before. And then they come to the league night kind of ready to rock.
Yeah. Is the Addams Family the notoriously most difficult pinball machine here?
That's personally speaking. I'm sure others would argue that Houdini is actually one of the hardest ones because its shots and the ramps on that are completely, I don't know. If I had to say it, they're tinier than everything else, but that's just perception, I suppose.
Yeah. And the name, the Flipside, is this pinball lingo?
Yes.
Someone who's not in the underground realm of head-to-head pinballing at a bar, I am unaware of how the flip side comes into the equation.
Yeah, we have flippers on every single machine. And so I believe that when the owners were going to name it, that was one of the ones that came up almost immediately for them.
And so where is the flip side on the machine? Is it the...
Oh, no, so...
It's the side of the flipper that hits the ball?
So it's just a play on words. So catch it on the flip side. But really just using the word flip in reference to the flippers inside of the machines.
Okay. I was overthinking it here. I was overanalyzing. I was thinking, okay, that's got to be the side that touches the ball, that keeps you in play. But it's just a catch you on the flip side.
It could be that way, too. It's all in the interpretation.
That's right. Whatever people see. Do y'all host any other regular events or annual stuff besides Tuesday night?
Yeah, so there's actually a whole plethora of things that we do. More specifically, every Thursday, we have a different tournament that is not pinball. So the first Thursday is generally always air hockey. Second would be bubble hockey, our dome hockey behind you. And the third is skee ball. And then the last is buck hunter. And people really come out of the woodwork for this. It's a $5 buy-in. And first, second, and third place winners get envelopes full of cash from us.
Ooh.
And a bunch of free swag from the brewery or the cidery or distillery that is sponsoring it. So every single week has a different sponsor. And we do a mini tap takeover. We've done it with a whole bunch of breweries here. Odell, Crow Hop. Loveland Ale works for Boughton. Mash Lab out of Windsor. Really, mostly Northern Colorado breweries have done it. It's a lot of fun.
That's so cool. What would you say, how long have you been here at the Flipside?
So me personally, I've been here since February of last year, of 2017, but the establishment's opened in July of 2016. No, yeah, 17. So it's almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years this July for them.
Okay, so July of 2017, you got here...
February of 2018, yes.
Okay. Would you say that there are any surprises about running the Flipside that you maybe weren't ready for or you didn't know before you started?
Pinball machines require an extraordinary amount of maintenance to run at their peak. Every single machine, when you take off the top glass and the shields and you open it up, the whole play field stands up, I guess, perpendicular to the floor so that you can see into the bottom of it and see all the mechanisms of what is making the flippers work and all the bumpers, and it kind of looks like the inside of a computer. It really does.
Whoa.
And so one of the owners, Kevin, works on them personally with another one of our employees, Jake, and they're in there soldering things and with the headlamps and tool purses everywhere, and it's actually looks like something directly out of a Mad Scientist movie. So That's something that I had never seen before.
So does it fold out the board folds out toward you, or does it...
So there's two handles on each side generally of the play field, and you lift it up.
Oh, right.
And then you push it away from you so that you can, so then it becomes about 2 feet in front of you, away from you, all of the wires and whatnot. And you can physically be inside of the machine. Dang. Jake actually left his cell phone inside of a machine once, and he was calling it, looking for it, and the machine was ringing.
So they're fragile. The small pieces in these games, they get knocked around or they get knocked loose, and then you'll have to...
open it up and glue it back together. Because
are new pinball machines made, or are most of these retro machines that have been around for 30, 40 years?
That's a really good question. There's actually a mix of both. There's always new pinball machines coming out, actually. Some of the new ones that we have are Deadpool, Total Nuclear Annihilation, and Houdini. So they're way more colorful and bright and vibrant, but at the same time they're also hard to work on because the newer pieces aren't as readily available, as far as I've seen.
Because they haven't...
I don't work on them, but as far as I can tell from trying to fix problems on newer machines, it's easier to work on the older ones, as far as I've seen.
Interesting. And I noticed on the website that you all you offer, maybe in addition to beer, but you also specialize in craft cocktails. Mm-hmm. Is that an intentional step in addition to the pinball mantra you have here?
Yeah, we have everything from Jell-O shots to traditionally poured absinthe and really everything in between, so that we could offer something for everybody. But as far as the top shelf craft cocktails go, it was definitely an intentional step. And when I took over as general manager, the owners really gave me a lot of creative space to make new and interesting things that maybe nobody had ever seen before. We partnered with the Colorado Candy Company up in Fort Collins, and they made us a massive amount of real raspberry extract cotton candy that we put on top of a raspberry mojito.
That sounds killer.
So good. And so we would just top it with it, and we called it the Witch's Brews around Halloween last year that we came out with it. And that was a huge hit because nobody else had seen it before. We were taking something very basic, like a mojito. It was a very classic cocktail, and elevating it. And that was part of the business plan when I came on, is that we really want to elevate our service and make it something special every single time somebody came in our door.
Yeah, I like that because, and no detriment to you all, but personally when I think about video game and arcade style bars, I think of the cheap beers. Mm-hmm. I think of easy drinks, whiskeys, vodkas, and just,
pitchers of beer.
Yeah, and just, how fast can I get this in my gullet so I can get back to gaming? But it's interesting and it's refreshing to hear that you all also craft this experience, and people come to the bar and, hey, I walked in, and how can we help you?
Yeah, it's nice to see the response from people too. When I'm bartending, I'll have people come in and say, what are you making that's new? What are you working on now, Nadia? Because probably every 2 weeks I have a fun, new, exciting drink that I don't think most of downtown Loveland had ever tried before, and I want to have them experience it.
So in your time here at the Flipside, what is one thing that you really enjoy about your role?
Well, I think the most rewarding thing about working at the Flipside is that I have the confidence of my coworkers and my bosses to see these visions through. I'm able to come up with really seemingly radical ideas and then see them, up to fruition, and they're successful, most of them. Like for New Year's Eve, about 2 months ago, I was like, we should have an ice luge. That would be so cool. What place downtown is going to have an ice luge? And they said, oh, that's silly. No one will want it. It's going to be too expensive. And we went through, the channels to find it, and we had it, and it was a huge success. It was a huge hit. And so most companies that I've ever worked for before, when I come up with like a big grandiose idea, would stick to the first answer and say, that's crazy, we can't do it, and move on. But knowing that I have the confidence of the people that I'm working with, that these ideas are really, progressive and new and exciting, and that's what we want to kind of be, is new and exciting and progressive as far as entertainment goes. That's really what we want. We want everybody just to have some fun.
A unique experience.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse my ignorance, but what exactly is an ice luge?
So it's a big ice sculpture that you pour booze down. Typically, you drink it with your mouth, but that would have not flown with the health department. So we got really awesome plastic throwaway cups, and we made 2 pre-made types of shots, and we were pouring it down, and it was in the shape of our logo with our 2 flippers.
No way.
And it was amazing, on top of an LED table. So all of these lights were shining up through the glass, and we actually were able to salvage it for 3 more nights after that.
No way.
It was a little tedious putting it in and out of the freezer, but...
Yeah, was it stationed outside or in here?
It was right in the corner, right by the window, so that everybody could see it when they were walking by.
How'd you keep it from thawing in here if it was made of ice?
It was sitting on a bed of ice, and then at the end of the night, we would wheel it back into the freezer and put it into our freezer. We have a pretty big case freezer.
Yeah. Do y'all have photos of this?
Yeah.
We're going to have to definitely put them up on the Instagram.
Absolutely.
That is super cool.
Exactly. So no one else had really thought of it. And we serve, what's really great, we have for the high-end whiskey drinks, tempered ice spheres. When you put them into a beverage, they only melt. They don't crack. And so it's supposed to reflect the pinballs that you're playing here.
Interesting.
That person is the one who hooked us up with our ice luge. So,
dang. And are they somewhere here in town, or?
Yeah, it's this guy named Ted Strickland. Really nice guy. Ice connoisseur.
Didn't know that they were around. That's sweet. So I had an interesting thought as I was prepping for this conversation, and I wanted to get your opinion about it. Do you think that the Flipside offers something that might be missing from what used to be found all the time in bars all over the place with arcades? Most video games now are played at home and by ourselves. Now, you may be on the microphone with your friends, you may be talking in a chat party, but a lot of video games are played on your couch at home, isolated. The Flipside brings people out, puts them together, puts them in these tournaments, they meet new people, they enjoy laughs, they have a drink. Do you think the Flipside sort of is a callback to that, or do you think it's filling a whole gap that's there? What are your thoughts on all this?
I think it's really awesome to see families come in here and have kind of cross-generational bond over something that, is inherently like a solo player thing. So, for example, most kids have never seen Galaga or Asteroids or Centipede or Donkey Kong or things like that. So we have some old school table games programmed into one of our machines, actually 2 of our machines, and they get super, super excited about it. Something new to them. But for their parents, it's something old and retro, and that's a bonding experience for them. And I think that's a lot of the reason why parents bring their kids here, or why people just come out, because they're creating a new memory over something that's so retro, which I think is really awesome, especially with pinball. Most kids have no idea how to even play it. They'll pull the plunger, and then they'll just stand there and watch it. So sometimes we have to go over like, hit the buttons. And then immediately, once they have that engagement, it's like a whole new world is open to them.
Yeah.
Something that to you and I has always been there, but for kids, it's getting them away from the Xbox or whatever their chosen gaming platform is.
Their poison.
Yeah.
Right. Poison of entertainment.
Exactly.
I'm obviously not down talking video game.
No, believe me, I like my fair share.
Yeah. Today's kids, often from the time they start learning what a game is online, digital, it's either on a phone, an iPad, or it's on a controller, right? It's all digital. And I'm sitting here realizing that pinball is like halfway in between, because you have a digital score and there are some animations on the board, but it's a physical space that this ball is bouncing around in. And if a child walks up to a pinball, it could very easily be the biggest game they've ever played, because it's way bigger than their Xbox, their phone, their tablet, and it's
so tangible.
Yeah, because it's physically happening in front of you,
and you have so much control over, where the ball can go, and it's so, like I said, it's so tangible. And if something does happen to break, you can open it up and diagnose it and fix it, and then keep moving on. If you have a glitch in your system on your video game at home, you just kind of have to wait for the people upstairs to figure it out, or in the cloud.
Right. It reminds me of how people enjoy working on old cars, because you can easily fix a car. Something's knocking around in there, throw the hood up. Let's get it, let's get the wheel well open, and you can work on it. Where it's funny now, if you pull open a car that's made and produced in 2019, there's plastic everywhere. You have to attach a computer to it. Yeah, or you have to run 10 diagnostic tests on a laptop before you can even figure out what is going on. And then it may be built in such a way where you truly can't fix it without a shop's assistance. There are a lot of cars that are made that way.
Exactly.
So it's like a callback to a time when, I don't want to say the machines were simpler, but they were made so that people could work on them themselves.
That's such an incredible comparison with the people tinkering on their cars to, pinheads tinkering on their machines. It's so very true. A lot of people enjoy the process of diagnosing and fixing and recalibrating their machines, and you can see it firsthand here. We actually work on our machines during our operating hours, so if you come while we're open, I'm sure you'll see something being worked on, which is really fun too. Yeah,
that would be cool. As a person, I would love to sit and watch someone work on one of these pinball machines, especially the way you say it opens up.
Exactly, and that is another point of interest when you come in. People are intrigued by it. They see a machine open, start slowly walking over to it and peeking in. Am I supposed to be near this? What's happening? This is so cool. I've never seen anything like this before. And tying back into the tangibility of the machines for younger people, they see it working like that, and it really kind of sparks a new interest in them, which is great.
Have you seen Stranger Things?
No.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Well, in Season 2, no spoilers for any listeners or yourself, there's a situation where someone beats their high score on I think it's the Dig Dug machine, and they are upset. And then they have to find out who it is, and they find out it's this person who's in their community, and that's different if you are on like a Call of Duty headliner board. It's just someone out in the world. But if you set at the high score on the Lord of the Rings pinball machine over here, you come back a week later and somebody else has replaced your name, it's someone here.
And it's super frustrating too. Let me just say from personal experience, within our little community right here, there's a lot of familiar faces, and then you'll see the initials that are on the machine. You put 3 initials in. So I'm NAD. We have a regular Marshall. He's MSW. When you see somebody else's initials over it, you know who that was. And you're like, why did you beat my high score? And
Yeah.
what's really great about this, though, is we reset the high scores every month.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
It's a great thing. It gives more people opportunity to get their name on the leaderboard. And then at the end of the month, if you're the high score, if you're the grand champion, we advertise it on our TVs and for everybody to see what your score was with your initials. If you ever get a grand champion on any game, you win a free drink.
Oh, very cool.
It's only applicable for one grand champion per day per person, but it's just another added incentive for people to really get in those high scores.
So not only are you competing against scores of the month, but you can look and see what was the highest score set last month and how am I doing compared to previous champions.
Exactly.
That's super cool. Do people get competitive in here and they start like swapping on the same pinball machine, trying to beat each other, and it's like, hey.
Oh yeah, I can name at least 6 people off the top of my head who do that.
Yeah. So for our listeners who are already excited to come to the Flipside because they want this free beer for setting the high score, they want to come in and be on the leaderboards, especially if it's at the beginning of a month so they can feel good, take that Instagram before someone blows their score out of the water. Do you have any upcoming events our listeners should know about or could roll in here for?
Yeah, absolutely. So really exciting. Next Thursday, I believe it is the 17th at 8 o'clock, we will be having a skee ball tournament with Surly Brewing. So they're not local, but they have fantastic beers, and their rep will be here giving out free stuff, and we'll be doing raffle prizes. It's a $5 buy-in. It's kind of just like all of our other tournaments, and you have to be 21 to play.
Okay.
Because it is sponsored by a brewery. And then the next thing coming up that's really awesome is that Grimm Brothers, another local brewery, brewed their White Russian milk stout called the Dude Abides.
Oh, yeah.
Little shout out to the Big Lebowski.
Absolutely.
On
and
Nitro.
Grimm Brothers,
Exactly.
who've been on the show.
That's awesome. Love guy. Hi. He brewed the Dude Abides for Nitro for us. So we'll be releasing that sometime in the next few weeks. So I would just check our Facebook for more dates, so to speak.
Yeah, I was going to ask, where would be the best place for people to find you on the interwebs to see what's coming up?
The Great Abyss. We are on Facebook, and then, of course, we have our website, which is theflipside140.com.
Okay. Does the 140 stand for anything?
We're 140 East 4th Street here.
There it is. Part of the address.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you, Nadia, for your time.
Heck yeah.
And hopefully we can get some new tournament players in here.
Oh my gosh, that'd be awesome.
Don't worry. We will be back soon, hearing from another person or a group of people on the NoCo. As always, I want to thank Russell Isaac Long for the music used here at the NoCo. Check us out on Instagram or Facebook for extra information, bonus content, and updates about guests who have previously been on the podcast. That's the NoCo, all one word. Original, right? Thank you for listening and supporting the show. Until next time, peace!